Yes. So when it comes to people being nervous about public speaking or engaging from, and I've seen some people backstage, honestly, in tears before we've had to push them out onto stage. I myself was there many years ago. Even now, I mean, nerves. You know, you always do get nervous, and I've spoken on many platforms.
Yeah.
And yet there is an element of nervousness and there's energy. But there's some people I've seen who have reduced down to tears before they've gone actually on stage. What kind of message or what kind of advice do you give to such people who are who have that much fear of public speaking?
I think it's important to. I think you've got a great golden nugget to share because we spoke on the phone the other day, and I'd like to share it once I've said this. But it's actually your physiology and what you're thinking, rather than thinking, "Gosh, I'm going to go on a call and I'm going to be absolutely crap. I'm not going to do this." Or we have thoughts where, "Why do they want to listen to me?" You know, how am I a person of authority? But it's actually having those positive affirmations in your mind and thinking, "Yeah, I'm going to do it." I'm really excited about this. I've got a golden nugget to share. And that's really important what you're telling yourself in your mind. I mean, do you want to share your golden nugget that you shared with me the other day when you were
I'll,
in Dubai?
I'll leave it to you. I'll leave it to you.
No, I want you to share
Well,
it.
the thing is, we had a conversation. You public speak, I public speak, and I think previously we've had a chat on LinkedIn about this, and you put up a post about this, and there's a lot of comments on it about everyone has certain rituals before they actually go out on stage. Now my rituals, and very funny, but I have to do a few press ups backstage. I have to do a bit of shadow boxing just to take my energy up to a certain level. And then when you go out on stage, you kind of bring the energy down. But whilst you're doing that, you're kind of engaging with the audience and getting a sync with the audience. And then you find two or three heads in the audience that you can communicate with throughout that talk. And public speaking is never, ever easy. I've been doing it since the age of 14, 15, speaking in alien language that wasn't my first language. So thankfully, at that age, I didn't appreciate the value of that lesson. I hated it, but 30 years later, you think, wow, those experiences set the way for where we are today. But I also stutter, so I've got a double whammy. As a child in school, I always stuttered. I was always the quiet one. But I've learned to overcome that, and that's just by watching people like yourself who make it look so seamless out there. But irrespective of how seamless you make it look, there's always that element of fear, and I think it's being able to overcome that fear and learning how to deal with it. Do you not agree?
um, it's funny you use the word fear because I teach this actually in my workshops. What is fear? It's false evidence that appears real because we're only
Yeah.
born with two fears, Abid. And for the viewers who don't know what the fears are, when a baby's born, the doctor does two very early checkups. One of them being is where he holds the baby up and it tilts it, and the baby does this. Why? Because the baby's scared of heights. That's one fear that we're naturally born with, the fear of heights. And the other fear is he checks to check the hearing of the baby. The doctor claps and the baby gets startled. Why? Because it has the fear of loud noise. Those are the only two fears that we're born with, the fear of heights and the fear of
Really
loud noise. Yeah. The
interesting.
rest, yeah, just being accumulated. How? An example would be you're at university, you're in a hall, the students are there, the professor's asked you a question, you've put your hand up, you've got it wrong, everybody's laughed. Or the professor said, "What? That's nonsense." So that fear has instilled in you. Next time, I'm not to speak up. Why? Because
Yeah.
I'm not going to get it right. I'm not
Yeah.
good enough. I don't know. You see what I mean?
How do you
So
overcome that though? How do you overcome that?
how
That
you
fear.
overcome it is the more you speak, the more you do something, practice. Why? Because practice makes perfect. There's only certain tools, like you've just said, you do press ups. Now, what does a boxer do when he goes into the ring? Loud music. He's pouncing, dancing. The physiology. I'm going to
Yeah.
do this. Yeah. He
Yeah.
might have the opposite party who's much stronger, who's won many times, but he's not saying he's stronger. I'm going to lose. What's the image you see
Many,
on the camera?
many fights are won in the ring walk rather than in the ring, because it's all about how you come out, and it's all about up here, how ready you are for that. And there's been some amazing examples over the years with great boxers and great fights which we all predicted to go one way but went completely the opposite way, because I think maybe the occasion got the better of them. So a lot of the fights are actually won in the ring walk rather than in the ring. um, I suppose it's the same for public speaking. You know, before the actual talk and as you're walking out on stage determines how that talk is going to go for you. Yes, with experience, I think you can change that once you're on stage. But majority of them, I think, it's the mindset as you make your entrance, and the first 7 seconds, as you say, very very important to engage that audience and get them in your grasp, and make a few friends in the audience. Get a few nods and get a few highs and buys, and then that will then set the way of how that's going to go.
Yeah, I agree.